Haitians are very, very politically sophisticated. Every Haitian walks in glory for what their ancestors did, the first and last successful slave revolution in history. And so you're kind of brought up from a very young age with that historical legacy and burden on you. And so you can go talk to a peasant on a mountaintop or a guy in the slums of Port-au-Prince, and he might have a much more sophisticated geopolitical analysis than basically Joe Blow walking down the street in Queens or Memphis or Los Angeles.
So one thing I wanted to talk to you about here, especially taking those last two clips into context, right, is that even on his Wikipedia page that I went on, you see this word gang, leader. Right. First of all, it says nothing about any kind of a political perspective or revolutionary perspective whatsoever. I thought that maybe they would have a footnote of saying, like, there is also an alternative idea that this could be like a political revolutionary movement. So my question to you is actually about this term gang, because we've seen throughout history, revolutionary or social or political forces, they get branded as maybe terrorists. There's the old adage of one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. And we see something like Hamas or Hezbollah deemed as terrorists, or like in the case of Colombia, they call FARC guerrillas, but they don't want to call them necessarily revolutionary. It seems like this is almost a new branding label in Haiti to try to disparage and depoliticize this movement by referring to it as a gang. Would you agree to that?
Yes, I would. Precisely. It's just really a semantic difference. Back in 1915, they called the resistance fighters bandits. They were bandits in the hills. This was occupation. The Cacos, which we talk about in Bitter Cane, and they were to some extent, as I called them on Democracy Now, rural ruffians, sort of hooligans who would come in on horses and do bad things in the city. And people were somewhat scared of them, but they ended up being forged into a fighting force. And very much that's the repeat of what's happening today. They call them, because there were a lot of neighborhood committees who did turn to criminality. And to some extent, ironically, they did it after the example set by the U.S., because in 2004, prior to 2004, you didn't really see kidnapping and so forth going on in Haiti. But on February 29, 2004, a U.S. SEAL team came in, went into Aristide's house, and kidnapped him and basically took him to the Central African Republic. And when that happened, the people said, oh, so kidnapping's on the table now, is it? And that's when it all started. And they started to use the kidnapping to, raise money and so forth. And of course, the bourgeoisie was in it too. There was a very famous case of a bourgeois, Clifford Brandt, who kidnapped another bourgeois called Moscoso because they had basically a fight over a contract from the government. And, again, they were using people, and the people sort of said, okay, if this how you make money now, okay, let's do it. And anyway, so those criminal gangs were basically what Cherizier's organization was built to stop. He was trying to stop the kidnapping, extortion, the crimes that they were doing, because he was a cop. He was a stellar cop. He was a very
15 years on the force, right?
Yeah, 14 years. And he really loved the job. But then he saw that the whole institution was corrupt, as he explained in Another Vision. And, pretty soon when they drummed him out of that, because he, was getting wise to them, because they were trying to pin things on him, and then the whole human rights organization, part of the soft power machinery, went after him. So, he basically was radicalized. And that's the most dangerous. When you have the straight arrow, the guy who is radicalized, now he's more dangerous than, the guy who was fighting you from the start.
So one follow-up question to that, and this is just something that I thought. So like, I feel like sometimes, the United States State Department or whatever power may be that it's favorable to do this will call something like the PLO or Hamas or Hezbollah a terrorist organization because it conjures this image of this scary Arab terrorist, or in, whether it's Guatemala or Colombia, the scary Latin American guerrilla. But like, do you think that the term gang appeals to like a racist sentiment within the West of like, because they're black in Haiti, that
Totally.
like they're trying to like conjure up this white fright situation of like this concept of a black gang member, and look at them, they have t-shirts over their faces and they have guns, so this can't be a revolutionary force, this can't be a politically competent force, this can't be a force that's concerned with social upheaval, this has to just be a criminal element like those other scary black people that we try to impose on you as well.
Totally. It's exactly that. They're demonizing them. They're vilifying them. So people are scared of them, and that these are people who are just ruthless monsters who love to kill people just because they love blood or something.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Even though they're the ones pleading, begging, saying, no, let's talk. We don't want to fight, but nonetheless, the machinery just keeps on the old Mengele formula, lie, something always remains.
The shocking thing about like the machines, what would you call it? Like lie, right? About like basically Haiti being an island murder factory is that you would think that like more people in the West that probably know very little, if anything, about Haiti would be more sympathetic. Like, my God, these people like, are fleeing this like, fantastical murder island, right? Like, God blessed it. Like they were able to make it here and, et cetera, et cetera. But no, it's just nothing but like vitriol and like antagonism to like these people that like, it's not to say that like, the exaggerations, right, have any like bearing on like the island of Haiti, but like these people struggle, right, to just try and find any sort of relief, right, from like, this climactic environment that's not their doing. It's the U.S. It's a long history that led them like, to that conclusion that like, I have to go.
Sure. And, it's very difficult to find a national group which is more upright than Haitians. I mean,
right.
They might have 2 pennies to rub together, and yet when they go out on Sunday to church, they're going to have a nice press shirt and press pants and be very presentable. And they arrive on time. I mean, they run New York City, they run Miami. I mean, the Haitians are they are the working class of much of the Western Hemisphere, the Bahamas for sure. So, this sort of smearing of their national characters, their dog and cat eaters and their monsters, their gang, they just have no, it's like the old pictures of Teddy Roosevelt leading the, little ring, I'm sure people have seen it, of toy boats around an island, with these kind of jumping up and down savages on it. This is the modern day equivalent of it 100 years later.
Right. And exactly what you're saying are also the reports, the credible reports that are coming out of Springfield, Ohio. There's factories that are like, hey, there's a bunch of people that are around in this neighborhood. The American people around here, most of them, there's a bunch of them that are on drugs. They're not showing up on time. We hire these Haitians and they're here. They're always at their station. They're always working. They're dependable. They're on time. And then the church groups are also saying like, hey, we had like a dying church group here. And then the Haitians started coming in and now we have a vibrant church community. Exactly. So like exactly what you're saying there seems to be also playing out as evidenced from Springfield, Ohio currently. But in regards to kind of what we were talking about before is like, what are the grievances of the Haitian people that they would need some kind of like a revolutionary movement? We actually have 2 clips here, and Phil, we can just play these back to back if you want. It's the last 2 from this episode, and it's kind of like going to be a minute or so of just some of the Haitian people that are at this barbecue rally kind of, expressing what their grievances are. So I just kind of, for the audience, I think it's important to hear that as well. It's like, okay, well, why do people in Haiti need a revolutionary movement?
C'est ça là Haïti nous gagne. acheter la mangeaille.
Bonjour, nous là, nous venons combien pour vote nous. Parce que si jeune gagne et l'âge capable avancer sous nous là, nous finissons.
Nous venons là où la vie chère, gogo tout nous. Nous comprenons président de notre pays, son président chez nous
parce que j'ai petite famille, j'ai petite, n'a mal vivre.
Nous besoin pelle, nous besoin pour nous tout quartier nous. Parce que imaginez, nous avons pris gaz, nous avons pris balle, si nous avons à l'école. Parce que qui n'a pas affiché comme bon, si pas bon, si nous sommes révolutionnaires.
Jeune enfant familier, je venais se couper tête racher pour me payer.
Je dis, les ghettos en guerre, les ghettos en guerre, il y a pile monde qui content. Là, on a goumé entre nous, yo content, c'est normal, c'est là on fait millions. Je dis, c'est l'idée Genève. Nous pas goumé entre nous encore, parce que nous semble avant, yo pas qu'à faire ma goumé entre eux, yo qu'à faire capital politique pas yo. Je dis, même Jean-Paul Genève l'a dit, bataille révolution commencé. Là, me dit bataille révolution commencé, c'est pour nous jeunes ça qui revient nous de droit. Là, me dit ça qui revient de droit, c'est pour nous droit à la santé, droit à l'éducation, droit pour nous logement, faut nous droit ça yo, pour vivre dans le monde. Même si nous Pétionville à vivre, même si nous Delmayo à vivre, parce que nous à l'école tout, nous à l'école, nous formons tout. Quel papi bien formé passer nous, non? Mais pour qui ça nous-mêmes tout le temps, il y a marginalisé nous.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with that, you know what I mean? Like, I think when people think that these people down there are these like illiterate, uneducated, they wouldn't even understand, you know what I mean? What they need in that country. They need the International Monetary Fund to tell them. They need the Clintons to tell them what they need. They need the United States, the USAID, or any of these people or foreign corporations to tell them what they need. And it makes them think like these no agency, infantile, poor, defunct people. But I think what we're seeing here, I think later in a clip also, a person says, we need a revolution like Fidel Castro. We need a revolution like Nelson Mandela. We need a revolution like Hugo Chavez. Like, these aren't people that are just like illiterate to their political situation, right?
Not at all. And that's just it. And I've been saying it for years. I'm sure people have heard me say it before. But, Haitians are very, very politically sophisticated. Every Haitian walks in glory for what their ancestors did, the first and last successful slave revolution in history. And so you're kind of brought up from a very young age with that historical legacy and burden on you. And so you can go talk to a peasant on a mountaintop or a guy in the slums of Port-au-Prince, and he might have a much more sophisticated geopolitical analysis than basically Joe Blow walking down the street in Queens or Memphis or Los Angeles. So this is the reality in Haiti. And it's not to say that they're impervious to disinformation. And for sure, the bourgeois-owned radios and, of course, social media in Haiti has done a lot of vilification of this and made people scared. But they're coming out of it, and there's just a huge ideological struggle going on right now as the revolutionaries called gangs go to social media and make their case and debate and dialogue with the people.
So the next one I want to show is this is some of what I think, because I think people that are watching this, maybe you don't know a lot about Haiti or what's going on there. And I think, in my opinion, it gives a validity to, the struggle of the G9. And it's just to see really how dire the conditions that people are living in. Because I think here in the United States, the level of poverty that Haitian citizens have to endure in the slums is just, I've been to India, I've been to Guatemala, I've been to Colombia, I've been to certain places like that. And it's I've never seen such debilitating poverty as some of these things that I saw in the third episode of your series. So if we want to bring up that one, this is from episode 3, and it's Barbeque showing this this neighborhood that's just, right here. There you go.
Kau tak cache la cabane là. Oh, ok. Pas vous avez je courir chez. Combien de petits moun là?
I like this one.
OK. Ay cabane pour côté dormi. Filmer cabane ni goul. Il y a 4 petits moun. OK? Il y a 4 petits moun mais côté là dormi. Meni. Ah toi ça besoin filmer toi. Ah. Ok? Ça est caille pour deux moun. Avant qu'on l'autre à terre encore.
Oui, ça va pour moi.
Comment ça? Ok. Nene. Ok, monsieur. Mais regardez sous qui ça l'a dormi. Petit moun n'a pas de dire rien. Mais comment c'est sous qui ça si moun n'a dormi? Pourquoi doit prendre petit moun mais prends sous qui ça si moun n'a dormi? Prends sous qui ça si moun n'a dormi. Ok? Mais prends caille là. Nene. Ça son petit moun, Nene. Ok? Nene, monsieur. On t'y fille encore, mais on fille. Bien prendre. On fille Willier. On fille, monsieur, Meni. On fille. On fille, ok? On ti moun, on ti fi. Meni, monsieur. Mais pays a, men. Prends les cas là, moi. Prends les a. Mais, qui ça moun a dormi? Est-ce qu'on prend les a? Prends les a pour quoi? Prends les a. Prends les a. Meni. Bon, me camper bien pour moi, Meni. Mais les a qui ça fait pas ici? Mais qu'on fait pas ici à vivre. Je dis à 5 septembre 2021. Mais qu'on fait pas ici à vivre, ok? Votre maman. Meni, ok? Meni, me remettez le même côté encore, mais quand si mon abdomen. Ok? Alors, bonne chose. Ça c'est le mot de tir ouais avec ça. D'après le mot de tir ouais avec ça parce que vous allez appeler le chef gang, je vais vous qui chef. Comprends? C'est ça la gueule de ça, c'est déjà pas de caillou. Et là, il y a beaucoup de ça se manger. Il parle de là, il y a beaucoup de manger. Nous va de vous. Non, tu vas pas me
So yeah, like, you know, and this is the other thing too. It's like, you know, Haiti, whether they wanted to or not, was forced to follow what the IMF said. They were forced to do the structural adjustment programs. They were forced to take on those loans. They listened to, you know, whoever it was that has imposed Henri or these other unelected officials, you know, the UN peacekeeping forces and all these things out of their control have come in and said, we know how to fix Haiti. We know what's best for Haiti. And then you have people that are living like this that are saying, you know what, whatever these outside forces are coming in and saying doesn't seem to be working very well for us. We're going to do our own thing, and then we denigrate and demonize and vilify them. Like, yeah, that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. It's like
you forgot about the billions of dollars worth of gold that the Marines took in, like, you know, the early. Like, well, adjusted for inflation, it's now billions of dollars.
Yeah,
but it's just like,
it was 500,000.
It goes a long way.
Then, but yeah, it was gold bars.
But that's all to say nothing about the gun bloat diplomacy $150 million debt that the French also extorted out of the country as well. So, you know, I understand that it's a step-by-step process, but I'm saying, you know, it's like, you know, with the IMF and the structural adjustment programs and the aid and things like that and the UN peacekeeping mission.
What have they done wrong?
These are all the relatively recent developments that have been like, we know how to fix Haiti. We'll get this within the shape. And this is how people are living in the present day. Correct.
Right.
So can you guys speak to that? It's like this revolutionary movement that like now is being vilified and denigrated. Meanwhile, it's like, this is the direct consequence of everything that the outside world said would fix us.
Right. Well, in another vision, it was originally one film. It was 2.5 hours long, and we said, well, you know, foreign audiences are not going to watch a 2.5-hour film on Haiti, so we split it into 3 parts. But really, the first and second episodes are setting up the third, where you really see the reality. You see what people are living in. Of course, if you watched it, you know, the conditions you see are just going to get worse than what you just saw. As, you know, they're slogging through sewage water to, you know, that people are washing themselves in. I mean, it's just a nightmare world, a hellscape. So, and this is what Cherizier is, you know, trying to make known. And he's done it, you know, basically now for the past 4 or 5 years. And he's gotten a movement together. And a lot of it, most of those 4 years, he was fighting with the criminal gangs because he was the sort of vigilante. He was the anti-crime guy. And his coalition was saying, we're going to stamp out crime. And he fought the other ones. But he tried in 2021, in 2022, and I could even say 2023, to overthrow Ariel Henry, who the U.S. had put in as their puppet after they assassinated Jovenel Moïse. I say that because all the circumstantial evidence points to the fact that the U.S. Embassy, at the very least, had foreknowledge, gave a wink and a nod, perhaps. Maybe they played a role operationally in it, but in the killing of Jovenel Moïse. So now he realized that each time he tried to do that, the criminal gangs, which the bourgeoisie would hire and pay and give money and guns and ammo, would hit him from behind, and he couldn't get. So he basically said, there's no way I can go forward without joining with them. And so this is basically a 21st century version of the Comintern, where where Mao got together with Chiang Kai-shek to drive out the Japanese. So essentially, and Haitian history has it too. Jean-Jacques Dessalines got together. He was representing what we could call the former slaves. He got with the leader of, I could call the leader of the affranchis, the freedmen, who were sometimes the children of a slave owner and a slave mother.
We called the mulattoes.
Mulatto, yeah, they used to call it the mulatto elite, but we find that a little unscientific.
I think mulatto I'm just referencing C.L.R. James's book that I read. And
right.
That's how they're referred to in that book, right? The C.L.R. James book. Yeah.
Maybe I forget if C.L.R. James, but certainly if you go to Yale or Harvard, you're going to learn about the mulatto elite, which gives it a caste. But I mean, there were Black people who were in it. There were white people in it, but it was a class called the affranchis, and that was headed by a guy called Alexandre Pétion. And basically, they fought bitterly, Dessalines and Pétion, but eventually they came together and made a united front, and that's what drove out the French. So that was on the Haitian flag now. L'union fait la force. Union makes strength. Unity makes strength. Now, 2 years later, Pétion fomented a coup against Dessalines and killed him. So, it doesn't mean the
take that for what it is,
but, you have these conjunctural alliances, and that's what Cherizier has cobbled together now and is trying to marshal in a march towards liberation.
So in terms of marshaling, we have the next picture, and this is kind of a continuation of the last one. It's continuing to show these dire circumstances of impoverishment that the Haitian people find themselves in, but also it has, his speech that is, a rallying cry to the people in these slums.
Est-ce qu'il y a l'arrêté?
Oui, il doit ici à moitié.
Ok, où ça? Oui. Haïtien, il doit vivre.
Et là, on vivre dans l'eau, on vivre là. Nous coulons dans l'eau là.
Oui.
Nous, le canal là, peut nos problèmes. Nous ne pouvons pas dormir. Nous entrer la caille nous. Là, tu as souffert là. Il faudra envoyer nous bêtes, Simon. Vieux chien. Vieux bêtes là. Tout le monde là, qui a souffert là. Nous-mêmes là, nous étions. Puis on va bien nous faire calme.
Mais est-ce que nous ne pouvons pas et nous qui après les têtes politiciens, est-ce qu'il y a un Michel?
Même du tout.
Est-ce que nous pas un premier ministre Ariel Henry vient là? Pas de gouvernement qui
ça doit arriver. Regardez nous mettez là. Pour de pas entrer en détail là. Si bébé a souffert malade, douleur, tout grand moun là souffrir là. Regardez là. Tout en haut, il faudra tout descendre depuis en haut. Envahir nous tout là. Là même dans la caille, on va vivre. Nous va vivre là. Tout le monde. Viens madame ça, ouais là. Notre dos. Entrez notre dos là, non, viens madame ça.
Pas de aucun monde qui a fait rien pour nous. Si nous-mêmes, nous ne pouvons pas destin pays nous en main. N'est-ce les têtes aux politiciens ne peuvent pas faire rien pour nous. N'est-ce les têtes aux bourgeois ne peuvent pas faire rien pour nous. Parce que la mission, c'est que plus comme que possible pour les petits travailleurs de nous à vivre à l'étranger. Nous ne sommes pas quitter le monde entier, ouais, dans quelles conditions nous vivons là. Il y a toujours pas menti, parce que nous toujours des gens parler au diable pour mes peuple. Et si nous ne pas faire partie des peuples là, parce que si nous ne faisons partie des peuples là, c'est pas nos conditions ça nous vivre. Ça veut dire que nous avons le destin nous en main. Faut que nous suivons l'idée zone yo. Parce que nous disons ça déjà, zam ça yo pas là pour faire nous mal. Si on est fait déjà sur nous, ajoute l'idée à faire connaître. Si on nous sorti pour que nous ajoute l'idée à faire connaître, mais son façon nous-mêmes bataille pas nous bataille chaque green malaise parce que nous sommes dans le quartier populaire. Nous tous connaissons même son petit machin de manger le nous sommes en bas dans rue ce matin petit ghetto mieux. Et parce que ça quand pour pied dans l'eau pour le monde entier ouais misère à vivre parce que nèg bail menti. Nous avons toujours dit à Goumé pour peuple. Nous avons dit, contre peuple là, nous ne faire partie des peuples là. Si nous faisons partie des peuples là, nous vivre dans condition ça. Eh bien, ok. Je vais toujours répéter l'empile dans nos grands goûts là. Nous mettons pareil, nous mettons quoi. Nous ne disons pas l'empile et pas l'empile l'a fait. Goumé en long, nous mettons étiquette gang sous nous. Nous mettons étiquette bandit. Ça veut dire, nous faisons le monde entier, ouais, ça a passé et Goumé, c'est stratégie. Moi, pour mettre nous dans le jour, nous mettons quoi.
C'est pas tout, oui. Nous devons mourir. Nous devons fermer nous en donc. Nous devons fermer nous en donc cannibale. C'est où ça pour nous à petit pour te mettre nous dehors.
So yeah, like, you know, I just thought that was like, you know, just kind of wanted to talk to you is like, you know, what is the sense that you get when you walk around these areas, I guess Delma 6 and places like that with Barbeque? Like, do you get the sense that he's an immensely popular person? Like, I would imagine if you were just kind of like a warring, you know, gang, like, you know, guys like that, like, you know, you probably wouldn't be able to walk around so unprotected. I mean, obviously he has a gun and things like that, but it's not like there's any shortage of guns in Haiti or anything like that. So it's like, it does kind of lend credence to the fact that he's an extremely popular figure within those communities.
Well, in Lower Delma 6, 4, and 2, where is his real base, he doesn't go around armed. He usually has a pistol in his back of his waist,
yeah, I saw that,
his back pocket. But no, he's, you know, I mean, he's beloved. You know, people see him as their protector. He's their guy when they need money for a funeral or for a marriage or for, you know, kid to go to school. They come to him and he, you know, finds a way to get something together. He's the combination mayor, treasurer, protector, police department. And essentially, as the U.S. Has debilitated the Haitian state and the army and the police and the bureaucracy have all withered, the state has become these armed neighborhood organizations. Mm-hmm. Now, some of them turn to criminal activities, as I've mentioned, but Cherizier, and he says it later in the fifth episode that we've done, Haiti Intervention versus Revolution, is that he said, you know, we pride ourselves in the fact that we never sunk to that level. We never did that. You know, we've managed it. And, you know, of course, the disparaging things they say, oh, no, the guy is just a tool of the bourgeoisie. No, the U.S. and the bourgeoisie have been fighting him now for years, and he's remained consistent. He hasn't sold out, even on one of his live TikTok sessions the other night with 7,000 people listening. You know, he explained one of the U.S. Embassy attempts to buy him off, saying, listen, they gave me a passport. It has my face, but it doesn't have my name. And if I were to present it to U.S. immigration, they would say, welcome home. So, you know, they're trying everything to neutralize him. But, you know, he just puts it out there. And the guy is truly fearless in that endeavor. You know, he's got a huge machine against him, and he's got a lot of kind of unreliable allies. But, you know, people are really inspired by him from my experience watching.
Scoop us up like ants in a colony.